So let's talk about some iconic Barbies today. Let's talk some Barbies. So as we know, the Barbie movie will be out sooner than later, because before we know it, it'll be summer and that movie will be out and we'll all be watching it. I wanted to respond to some more questions that I had opened up the platform on my Instagram, and I was like, what do you guys want me to talk about? And I got some Barbie responses. And with the Barbie movie coming out, I figure why not? So today I'm going to talk about, I had them, I think the question was a top 10 favorite Barbies, but instead I want to do something where I just talk about some of the Barbies in the past that I've really enjoyed, because to pick just 10 is very difficult for me, especially being a Barbie collector almost my whole life. And if you've watched my story video, you know that my doll collecting story that, I started with my mom, and it all started with Barbies. And in no particular order and no particular date or anything like that, I have a few Barbies that I wanted to share with all of you that just, I don't know, they gave me warm fuzzy feelings inside. I guess nostalgia, if you will. So I tried Googling to see the official count of how many different Barbies are out there, and I can't find an exact number, so if you do find one, please put it in the comments below. But there has to be literally tens of thousands of different Barbies, from different careers to whether it was Barbie as a teacher, an astronaut, a president, to Barbie just, going to the beach, going to the mall, or having a sleepover. There are so many different varieties of Barbie. They've even had like flower-themed Barbies, ones with story times, just so many different Barbies. And for me, it was hard to just narrow down, like I said, 10 favorites. So I decided to pick a few of the ones that I liked. And for those of you, you've seen this doll before. She means a lot to me, but I really love the Tooth Fairy Barbie from the 90s. Now, they did make multiple Tooth Fairy Barbies, but this particular one was the one that started my collecting with my mom. And that's why this doll means so much to me. It's simple. She has molded on shoes, which we do not live for molded on clothes here, but this doll just has such a nostalgic warm feeling to me that's why it had to be in this top Barbies list for me, because it just means a lot sentimental value-wise. And I feel like that is enough to be on the list of best Barbies. Now, when I think of Barbie, I always think of big poofy gowns, big poofy blonde hair, and obviously the late 80s and into the 90s, we saw a lot of that. So for me, if I had to pick, and I'm going to put this on the list, even though it's not one particular doll, it's an era, I would have to say late 80s, early 90s Barbies, iconic. Everything, just the hair, the time, the fashion. Like when you see an 80s to 90s Barbie, it's from that time. It's not a 2015 Barbie, and it's not a 1972 Barbie. It's late 80s to early 90s. And some of the ones that really stand out for me was the Lights and Lace Barbie. I really love the Lights and Lace. I feel like with Lights and Lace, it really just embodied all of the pink and the poofiness and the hair. And she had a funny gimmick because she would light up. It was just something that really, when I see that doll, because they made that doll also had a mini McDonald's version, which I'll get into those in a second, but where I feel like it just stood out so much. The commercial was cute. I literally, to me, when I think of those Barbies, I think of all the twirling, whether it was Hollywood Hair Barbie or any of the Beachline dolls. Barbie always did the twirl and the hair would go. And something about Lights and Lace, it just embodies it, mainly because of the color, but it's poofy, it's pink. She got big blonde hair, and she had her pumps. That to me is you check all the boxes for a really fun Barbie. So when I think of iconic ones, I definitely really love the Lights and Lace Barbie. I feel like she just stands out because she checks off a lot of boxes with that outfit. Now, a doll that had a little controversy, but again, I just thought Barbies that would come with a gimmick always stood out to me. So Rockin' Barbie, not rocking with a G and not rapping with a G, it's Rockin' Barbie. I loved her outfit because I love the tight black pleather mini skirt. I love that she came with a little boom box that also played something. So I really liked a lot of the Barbies from the 80s and 90s because they all had, like I said, gimmicks, or they did something, whether they would dance or spin or light up. And I feel like that to me was why a lot of that Barbie from that era, and why a lot of my favorite dolls tend to come from there, because they always did something. She also had crimped hair, which was just, I love crimped hair. I didn't crimp my hair today, I should have, but I just love that look because again, it embodies the time and fashion, and she just looked really stunning in that pleather material that now 30 years later peels off like crazy, because if any of you are Barbie collectors from that time, I don't care if you have her in a safe, humid, dry room. I mean, the peeling on that material always happens, which is unfortunate, but she looked good when the doll came out. Little intermission moment that I forgot to add into the video. I will be doing another Whatnot auction coming up on Sunday. Here's the date and the time. And I will be selling some Bratz dolls, some other random miscellaneous dolls that I have, and I'm just clearing out more stuff that has just been sitting in boxes to buy more dolls. So definitely check me out on Whatnot. All the links are in the description below. I have a link for if you want to sign up, you get $15 off your first purchase. And if you want to sign up and become a seller, use my link. It helps me out. Thanks, guys. All right, back to the video. Bye. And it was hard to pick one so I was like, oh, I have to pick one of the Bob Mackie dolls. That needs to be on my list of most iconic dolls. But it's hard because Bob Mackie was so influential to the Barbie world for so long, especially in the 90s, because he did a lot of designing. I mean, the Queen of Hearts one, stunning. I mean, all the sequins, all the red, that color, it's just so beautiful. And then obviously he did the Bob Mackie Cher dolls, which to me, so amazing. So I have to say, from a collector's perspective, some of the most iconic ones have to be any of the Bob Mackie dolls. I mean, he really understands not only fashion, gosh, just the elegance. Like, those dolls were just everything. I would have to say the Bob Mackie gold doll really stands out to me, because that doll, my mom, I remember, just had a fight for that doll. That doll at one point was going for like $1,100, and it just is so insane to now you can get her much more affordably than $1,100. And that doll, just something, again, the high blonde pony, the tight gold dress that has the cut, like, it's just very Barbie, but very Bob Mackie. Like, when you look at it, you can definitely see who designed and who inspired that doll, like who was behind the idea. So I think Bob Mackie's some of the most iconic collector dolls. So I want to talk about celebrity dolls, because there has to be some iconic celebrity dolls mixed into this Barbie world. And you know who I'm going to say already is my favorite and who I think is the most iconic? Cher. Especially the Bob Mackie Cher is just so beautiful. And I love the face mold. Looks very much like Cher, not like the 70s doll Cher, which, ooh, you know, not so much. But I really love how Bob Mackie was able to give us just such a great iconic Cher doll. They still do iconic dolls now. I just feel like they don't do as many like celebrity dolls. I love that the fact that they've kind of transitioned into doing the empowering women's line, where you're giving us historical famous women represented in a affordable price line dolls that I feel like really can teach us stuff about history, because I mean, history is just so important to see where we came from. And I really like that they're going in that direction. I mean, I do miss when Barbie was just throwing out celebrity dolls, but if I had to pick one, obviously it would have to be the Cher doll. I feel like it's like the best celebrity doll. She's so pretty. And I do have her in box, but when my shelf in my room decided to fall down 2 years ago, it cracked her box. Tear. And for modern celebrity dolls, I guess I'd have to say I love the Gloria Estefan doll or the Tina Turner doll. Yeah, which I don't have Tina Turner yet, but so they do still make some other celebrity Barbies, but just not as much. I feel like they've slowed down and moved more into the empowering women's line for creating people as Barbie, you know? So I know I talk a lot of the older Barbies that I love so much, but I still love some of the modern dolls too. Okay, I don't dislike the modern dolls. I wanted to throw in some iconic modern Barbies, and for me, the ones that really stand out are the looks. The looks line is very simple, I will admit. And I know a lot of people are like, who aren't full-on Barbie collectors, are like, why are you buying a doll that literally just has like a mini skirt and a top, like whatever. I like the fact that they're giving us made-to-move dolls with styles where they have like different makeup, different hair textures, different appearances, different body shapes, and keeping it around a $20 price point, but also making it high-end. I know that sounds weird, but like looking at it, because we're so used to seeing Barbie in like the Playline dolls, and they're like $25 now at Target. So it's cool when you can go and see something that comes in a nice collector's looking box, has a little bit of fashion, but isn't like a super glam fashion doll, but has a made-to-move body that still is unique, and it's all around $20. I hope they keep doing it. I think the looks dolls are very iconic for right now, because we are in a world where dolls keep going up in price, and they're giving us a doll that you could throw on different outfits, and it's almost like you're buying a body basically, because you're not really buying the looks doll for the fashions completely. I mean, some people might, but I feel like the doll is really bought because you want a different type of face up, you want a different type of hair, a different type of like height, skin tone. So you want a unique body that's made to move. And I think that's what the Looks dolls are giving us. So for me, one of my top modern Barbies is definitely going to be the Looks dolls, just because for 20 bucks, you can't beat it. And I have 3 that I pre-ordered on Amazon from the new wave that I'm still waiting on. And I will be doing a video on those because I like them. They're really pretty. Some of the other dolls that really stood out to me as a kid, I really loved Midge, which I know is not a Barbie. We're trying to pick most iconic Barbies, but I would say in the Barbie universe, my favorite was always Midge, particularly like the wedding day Midge one that I just love. Like wedding Midge was just so beautiful. I love that it came in a giant box. She was getting married to Alan. I don't have all of them. I just have the Barbies of Bridesmaid separately, and then which other one do I have? And then I have Midge in the bride outfit separately. I don't have the whole set yet, but that one's probably, I don't know what it is. I don't know what that is. Like, I have to say, like, my favorite outer character, which I do have a lot of 90s and late 80s Skipper dolls as well, were very iconic, but something about that wedding Midge was one of my most favorite iconic non-Barbie dolls that was in the Barbie universe. So wedding Midge, I'm gonna throw that one out there. I mean, how can you not talk about an iconic list and not mention Barbie with some of her super long hair, whether it was Jewel Hair Mermaid, whether it was Hollywood hair, whether it was totally hair, a lot of hair dolls. Like Barbie had some real inches in the 90s, and I just really liked that. I don't know, I think probably the Jewel Haired Mermaid is probably one of my favorite mermaid dolls, because Barbie has done a lot of mermaid over the years, and I would say Jewel Haired Mermaid, Barbie, Midge, and Teresa. Gosh, they were so pretty. I think it was just because their fabric was really shiny, and I just love that you could pull the tail off and then she could wear heels and it would just be a really super tight dress that she could never realistically walk in. See, more gimmicks. No tail, no problem. Just throw some pumps on. One doll that I thought was funny, that was very iconic to me, and I think she came out in the early 2000s, was the I'm a Toys R Us Kid Barbie, and it was celebrating the 50th anniversary of Toys R Us, and she came with a little like gift bag and a teddy bear, and the bangs were always crazy on her, but she had that cute tight pink top, so very like 2000s early fashion. But I don't know, something about that doll I just love, because she was shopping at Toys R Us, and that's what I would do, was shop at Toys R Us all the time, and I did all the way up until the day it closed. So I really like that Barbie, because it was just something that, I mean, that's where you go to buy Barbies back in the day, was Toys R Us. So I covered a few different things here. We talked about my most iconic time eras, which I think is the late 80s, early 90s Barbies. Hello, pink and poofy hair. And some of the ones that mean a lot to me nostalgia-wise is definitely like the Tooth Fairy Barbie. And I think for collectors-wise, like I said, recapping like the Bob Mackie dolls are just so iconic. I mean, realistically, this video should be probably like 10 episodes long, and I can go into every decade, kind of like how Trixie does, where it's like talking about the different Barbies that were iconic through the decades. And it's just so hard to pick just a few. That's why when I received some of the questions on Instagram, people were like, oh, your top 10 are the ones that are most iconic. I'm like, I would need a 50-hour podcast just to cover up all these Barbies, because whether it was Barbie being branded with different things, like the Oreo Barbie, I don't know why that doll stuck out to me so much, because I always looked at it and was like, so Barbie eats cookies. Like, I mean, or if you want to talk about like comical dolls, like Barbie dressed up as like, I don't even know, some of her questionable outfits, whether she was dressed up as, I don't know, George Washington. I think I was watching on Darling's Dolls where they mentioned the George Washington Barbie once, and I was kind of like, yep, I remember that doll coming out. And my mom and I were like, really? Barbie's George Washington with a pink outfit? Okay, why not? You know? Camp, right? So it's like Barbie has done so many different things. It's hard to pick just a top 10 for me. And I mean, I love obviously the high-end collector dolls, you know, still to this day. I don't buy as many of the high-end collector Barbies, but when it comes to like the Playline stuff, I'm in love with the Barbie extra dolls. I love that Barbie now is having her own live action movie coming out this summer. I cannot wait. You know, I'm gonna be first in line. I'm gonna be dressed up. I'm going to be wearing some Barbie, that's for sure, to go see the movie. So for me, it's one of those things where it's hard to just narrow it down. So I hope this was cool just to chat about Barbie for 15 minutes and talk about some of the ones that I thought were iconic. So throw in the comments below. I mean, there's so many Barbies out there. Like I said, I really did try Googling for a certain number and I couldn't find anything. Like I found somewhere where they were like saying something like, oh, the overall number of Barbies that are being produced and things like that. Now I want to know how many. I know it's hard because there were so many exclusives. Roughly how many different Barbies are out there? It has to be over 1 million. I'm gonna say 1 million. Why not? I doubt it's that many, but like, because Barbie's done everything from a pilot to being an empowering woman to, you know, eating different weird. I think I made that one Barbie video a couple years ago where Barbie came with cake mix that I made. You know, Barbie's done it all, and there's just so many of them. I don't even know. I can't imagine how many there are. My mom has a lot of them, that's for sure, which I still need to do my mom's Barbie collection video at some point. That will probably take me a month or two of filming, but it's a lot. So yeah, like I said, throw in the comments, let me know what you think about different Barbies out there and some of the ones that are more iconic to you. I mean, it's so hard just to pick a few.